control. Well, if you want to see what government looks like when it's out of control, if you want to see, think of any dystopian movie that you've seen, 1984, Brazil, even Clockwork Orange, something like that. Take a look at this clip.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Captain, I can't breathe.
That's about as disgusting as police brutality and a police state get. If you think you can trust people because they work for the government, that they're from the government, therefore they're here to help you, watch that video. Watch it in its entirety. It goes on for a very, very long time. This is worse than the protesters that were being sprayed in the face in California. I think it was Berkeley, some university in California, where the cop, the security guard, just walked along and sprayed them in the face as they were sitting there. This guy is constrained. And this is what happens. This is the article. 1984's Room 101. Video from U.S. prison shows inmate held down and pepper sprayed at close range. And from the tape it says, "You're never going to win." The guy who's spraying him says, "The bottom line is the House wins every time." That's what Maine Correctional Center Captain Sean Welch said to a prisoner who was strapped into a restraint chair, his face coated with pepper spray, and his legs shaking in pain and fear. And in the video, we see Schlosser immobilized in the restraint chair and surrounded by officers in riot gear. He remains compliant until one of the officers pins Schlosser's head to the back of the chair. He responds by squirming and then spitting at the officer, and without warning, Captain Welch suddenly coats his face at close range with pepper spray from a canister that is only intended to be used on large crowds at a distance of 20 feet or more, according to an investigator's report. Schlosser chokes, fights for breath, pleads, "I can't breathe." That's what you just heard in the clip. "I can't breathe, Captain." But Welch does nothing. Instead of following accepted professional standards and rinsing away the liquid, he puts a spit hood on Schlosser and effectively traps a pepper spray against his face for over 20 minutes and refuses to let him wash the burning spray from his face and eyes. Now, unfortunately, what happens is there's no discipline for this officer. As it says in the article, the Maine Department of Corrections has closed ranks to protect this officer. And now what they have done, instead of prosecuting him or getting him out of the force, what they have said is they need to find out how to keep videos like this from leaking to the public. That's their response. Let's just don't let this kind of stuff get out anymore. You know, there are good cops and there are good prosecutors. And we're going to be talking to one later in the show, Jim Gierak from Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. We need to have honest officers and cops. And there was some honest officer or cop in that prison who leaked that video. There was some whistleblower who leaked that. That guy ought to get a medal. Instead, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He may not just get fired. Those are the kind of guys that might kill him. They might beat him up. They might arrange for him to have an accident. That's the kind of guys those are. And, you know, just because you put on a uniform, that doesn't make you morally superior to other people. If you're a bad guy and you put on a uniform, you just get worse. So we need to have some good officers who are going to stand up, like the whistleblower who released that. So when we see things like this, we have to ask ourselves, are we falling into the same kind of tyranny that we've seen over and over again throughout